My wife said she had a work conference. But at 2 a.m., I got a text from a stranger. I thought you should know. Attached was a picture of her kissing another man in a hotel bar. Instead of calling her, I packed my bags and left. When she came home to an empty house, she panicked. Then she found the envelope I left on the kitchen table. She opened it and started screaming. This happened about 3 months ago, and I'm still trying to make sense of it. My wife and I were married for 11 years. We've had our ups and downs, just like anyone else. But this was something I never saw coming. We live in St. Louis. I work in IT support for a healthcare company. My wife, Rachel, is a marketing manager. She travels sometimes for work, usually once every few months. Nothing strange about it. She's always been independent, good at her job, and I trusted her. Or at least I thought I did. So when she told me she had a 3-day work conference in Chicago, I didn't blink. It wasn't the first time. She packed up, said she'd be back Sunday evening, and kissed me goodbye like always. Said she'd call when she got to the hotel. She did. Around 6:45 p.m. that Friday night. She told me the room was decent, the Wi-Fi sucked, and she might be late replying to texts. Again, nothing unusual. I spent that Friday night watching old reruns on Netflix, had some pizza, fell asleep on the couch. Saturday goes by. She texts me in the morning. Busy day ahead. Workshops and a client dinner later. I'll call you if it doesn't run too late. She didn't call. I figured she was tired. Didn't think much of it. Then, at exactly 2:08 a.m., my phone buzzes. I was asleep, but something about the sound woke me. It wasn't a notification I recognized. It was a text from a number I didn't know. No name. Just, I thought you should know. There was a picture attached. I sat up, opened it. The picture showed Rachel, my wife, in a dimly lit hotel bar, holding a wine glass and leaning in to kiss a man. Full-on kiss. His hand was on her thigh. It wasn't just a peck. This wasn't a hello. This was deep, slow, and deliberate. The kind of kiss you give someone you've been with before. At first, I didn't move. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stared at it. My brain froze. Then a second message came through. They come here every time there's a conference. Figured her husband should know. I wanted to call her. I really did. I had the phone in my hand, thumb over the call button. But something told me not to. Not yet. I stood up, went to the kitchen, and poured myself a glass of water. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't breathe right. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. By 6 a.m., I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to wait for her to come home and lie to my face. I started packing. I didn't take everything, just enough to get by for a while. A week's worth of clothes, my laptop, charger, toothbrush. Left the wedding album and all that stuff where it was. Before I walked out, I wrote a note. Short, to the point. Put it in a white envelope and left it right on the kitchen table where I knew she'd see it first thing when she walked in. The note said, I know. You don't have to lie. Take some time to think. I'm not coming back until I know what the truth really is. And I left. Didn't tell anyone where I was going. I drove for hours, no real destination. Ended up staying with my cousin in Kansas City. Told him I needed some space. Didn't go into details at first. Just said marriage stuff. He gave me a spare room. Didn't ask too many questions. I kept checking my phone. Not for Rachel, but for more texts from the mystery number. Nothing else ever came. But around 7 p.m. Sunday, my phone started blowing up. First, it was missed calls. Then texts. Then voicemails. It was Rachel. She was panicking. One of the first texts said, Where are you? Why is your stuff gone? Then, I saw the envelope. Please call me. Please. I need to explain. And later, who sent you that picture? It's not what it looks like, I swear. Please don't do this. But I didn't respond. I didn't block her. I just watched. The next day, she sent a longer message. Said she made a mistake. Said she didn't mean for it to go that far. Claimed it was someone she used to know from before we were married, and she just needed to feel something. That sentence stuck in my head. I just needed to feel something. I kept thinking, what was missing? What was so broken that she needed to go find it with someone else? And why lie to me, instead of talking to me? Then she called my cousin's phone. He handed it to me. I didn't pick up. She left a voicemail. She was crying, full-on sobbing. Not like her. Rachel doesn't cry often. She said she was sorry. Said she hated herself for what she did. Said she didn't know why she did it. That she felt dead inside for months and thought the affair would wake her up. She ended the voicemail with, Please come home. I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll quit my job. Just please talk to me. That's where I'm at now. I haven't decided what to do. I haven't gone back. I've been staying in KC, working remotely, pretending like everything's fine to most people. But inside, I feel like I'm walking around with no skin. Everything hurts. Every sound, every word. I replay that picture over and over in my head, like it's burned into my memory. I keep hearing that line. I just needed to feel something. I haven't filed for divorce. Not yet. But I also don't know if I can ever look at her the same way again. I guess I just needed to get this out. Maybe writing it down helps me sort through the mess. Maybe it doesn't. If you've been through something like this, how do you even begin to move on? It's been 4 weeks now. I'm still in Kansas City. I've thought about going back 100 times. But every time I see that picture again, her hand on his chest, the way she leaned into him like she'd done it before, something inside me goes cold. Rachel keeps texting. At first, every day, then every couple of days. Then she stopped for about a week. I figured maybe she was moving on. Maybe she realized I wasn't coming back. Then came the knock on my cousin's door. It was a Saturday morning. I was in the kitchen making eggs. My cousin was still asleep. I heard the knock, opened the door, and there she was. Rachel. No warning. No heads up. She'd driven from St. Louis to KC. Said she just needed to see me. She looked rough. Her hair was tied back in one of those half-falling ponytails. No makeup. Puffy eyes. Like she hadn't slept in days. I just stood there. She asked if we could talk. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no. I stepped aside. She walked in. Sat down on the couch, like it was still her house. Like nothing had changed. She started talking. Fast. Like she'd rehearsed it. I'm not going to make excuses, she said. But you need to know the truth. About everything. Then she said something I wasn't ready for. It wasn't the first time. I felt something hit me in the gut. I didn't speak. Didn't blink. Just kept staring at her. She went on. It started during my trip to San Diego last year. Same guy. His name's Eric. We used to date in college. He's married now too. I couldn't even process it. I thought it was a one-time mistake. Something stupid she did while drunk. But no, this was a full-on affair. Spanning months. Across cities. She said they'd meet during conferences. Said it only happened 4 times. 4. Like saying it wasn't 10 made it better. She told me she ended it. That the guy's wife found out and threatened to tell me if Rachel didn't confess. I realized that's who sent the photo. Not some random Good Samaritan. It was his wife. Rachel kept saying she didn't love him. That she felt numb in our marriage and didn't know how to tell me. That it wasn't about him, it was about her needing to feel alive again. I asked her, why didn't you just talk to me? She looked down and said, because I didn't want you to see me like this. Weak. Messed up. Broken. I didn't say anything for a long time. She begged me to come home. Said she'd go to therapy, alone or with me. Said she'd do whatever it took to rebuild trust. Said she'd even quit her job and never travel again. That's when I said something I didn't plan on. Are you pregnant? She froze. Silence. Then her eyes welled up. And she nodded. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel anger. I just felt blank. I asked her if it was mine. She said yes, but not in a convincing way. Said she wasn't sure at first, but based on timing, it had to be mine. I didn't know what to believe. She offered to get a paternity test once it was possible. I just nodded. What else could I do? And then, she dropped another bomb. I've been seeing a lawyer, she said. Not to file anything. Just to understand what would happen. With the house. The finances. If we, she didn't even finish the sentence. I knew what she meant. So now I'm sitting here, writing this, and nothing makes sense. She's pregnant. Might be mine. Might not. The affair lasted longer than I thought. And now she's showing up at my door like this is all fixable. I haven't told my cousin any of it. I don't even know how. I feel like my life cracked open at 2:08 a.m. with one photo. And now, everything I thought was real might be a lie. She's still in town, staying at some motel nearby. She texted tonight, asking if I'd meet her for dinner tomorrow. I haven't replied yet. Not sure what I'm hoping to find by writing this. Maybe I just need to feel something again too. I met her for dinner. Not because I forgave her. Not because I was ready to talk. I just needed answers. We went to some quiet diner near her motel. Booth in the back. She wore a plain hoodie and jeans. No makeup again. Hair down this time. She looked smaller somehow. Like guilt had shrunk her. I kept my voice flat when I spoke. You said the baby's mine. She nodded. Yes. I know it is. I didn't believe her. Not fully. But I let her talk. She had this envelope in her purse. Pulled it out. Said it was something the other guy's wife gave her. Told her to give it to me. I opened it. Inside was a printed email exchange between Rachel and the guy, Eric. It had dates, times, hotel bookings. Some of them matched the trips she told me were for work. There was also a letter from his wife, handwritten. I won't write the whole thing here, but it said this. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. My husband confessed everything after I caught him. I found the emails, the receipts. Your wife begged me not to tell you, but I couldn't let her keep lying. I thought you deserved the truth. You don't know me, but I know what it feels like to live in a lie. I hope you get out while you still can. Rachel just sat there, silent, watching me read. I asked her, did you really end it? She swore she did. Said that after the Chicago trip, she blocked him. Told him it was over for good. That she was ashamed. That she was scared of losing me. But it still didn't add up. Something about how she told me, how she showed up unannounced. It felt forced. Like there was more she was hiding. Then she slipped again. She said, I told Eric not to contact me, even when I found out I might be pregnant. I looked up. Might be. She froze. Then, she started crying. Hard. I didn't want to tell you this part, but I went to him first. I panicked. I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe it was his. I thought maybe he'd want to know. He didn't. He freaked out and told me to get rid of it. I stared at her. Couldn't feel my face. My hands. Nothing. You went to him before me, I said. You told him first. She nodded. I was scared. That's when I stood up. I couldn't sit there anymore. Couldn't breathe. I paid the bill, didn't say a word. Walked out. She followed me to the car, begging me not to go. I turned to her, calm as I could manage, and said, you don't get to break something and ask me to fix it. Then I drove off. Back at the house, my cousin wasn't home. I sat on the porch for a while, just thinking. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number again. I almost didn't answer, but I did. It was a man's voice. Nervous. Shaky. Is this Rachel's husband? I didn't say anything. He said his name was Jordan. Said he was her coworker. One of the guys who'd been at the same conference in Chicago. He told me something that made everything twist again. She wasn't just with one guy, he said. I thought you should know. Eric wasn't the only one. There's at least one other. Maybe more. I nearly dropped the phone. He said he felt bad. That he knew Rachel was married. That everyone knew. That she'd been flirting with guys at work events for over a year. That there were rumors. Whispers. He told me the only reason he came forward now was because he saw how upset she looked after I left. And he couldn't stand by and watch her lie anymore. That call broke something else inside me. This wasn't a one-time thing. It wasn't even just an affair. It was a pattern. A double life. And I had no idea how long it had been going on. Rachel didn't just make a mistake. She chose this. Repeatedly. Carefully. Behind my back. In hotel rooms, work trips, between conference calls and client dinners. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the floor of the guest room, staring at the wall, thinking of every trip she ever took, every time she said, I love you, and if she meant it. And now she's pregnant. Maybe mine. Maybe not. And she still says she wants to fix it. Still texts me every morning. Every night. I love you. Please come back. We can get through this. But I don't think she understands what she's really asking. I don't know what's worse, the betrayal or the idea that I almost believed her when she cried in my arms. And deep down, a voice keeps whispering, what if the baby really isn't mine? What if this is all just another lie she's hoping I'll forgive? I haven't responded to her since the call with Jordan, but something tells me this isn't over. Not even close. I agreed to see her one last time. We met at the house in St. Louis, the one we used to call home. I hadn't been back since that night I left the envelope. Everything was just like I left it. Her coat still hung by the door. My coffee mug still sat on the kitchen counter, like it was waiting for me. Rachel had cleaned. I could tell. Desperate move. Like polishing a cracked mirror. She looked thinner. Maybe from stress. Maybe guilt. She didn't smile when I walked in. She just pointed to the table. On it sat a sealed envelope, marked from the clinic. Paternity test. She handed it to me and said, it's yours. I didn't want you to have any more doubts. My heart was pounding as I opened it. My hands shook. The words felt blurry even though I knew how to read them. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. I looked at her. She whispered, "It's yours." I should have felt relief, maybe even happiness. But instead, all I felt was rage. "Why'd you lie for so long?" I asked. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. "I didn't lie. I didn't know how to tell you the truth. I lost it. All those trips? All those nights you told me you loved me while you were with someone else? That wasn't just confusion, Rachel. That was betrayal." She started crying, hard. The kind of crying that's ugly and real and full of shame. But I didn't stop. "You broke me. You made me question everything. I thought I was going crazy. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I thought I was the problem. And now I find out it wasn't just one guy. There were others." She dropped to the floor, sobbing. "I'm sorry. I was selfish. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't think you'd still love me if you saw how unhappy I'd become." I knelt down, not to comfort her, but to say something that had been buried in me for weeks. "I did love you. I loved you so much I never even thought to look for anyone else. You were my best friend, my family, my world. And you took that and burned it." She looked up at me with those swollen eyes and whispered, "Can we fix this?" That's when my cousin, who'd driven me back into town, knocked and walked in. He saw her on the floor, me standing over her. He didn't speak at first. Then he asked, calm but blunt, "Do you even want to fix this, man?" I didn't answer. "Not yet." Rachel stood up slowly, wiped her face, and said, "I'll quit my job. I'll stay home. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me." My cousin looked at me and said, "You can rebuild a house after a fire. But sometimes, it's better to walk away from the ashes." Rachel turned to him and screamed, "You don't know what we've been through." But she didn't scream at me. That said more than anything else. She didn't defend herself. She didn't fight for us. She just panicked at the idea of being alone. I sat down, took a deep breath, and said, "I'll be in the baby's life. I'll support him or her. But you and me? We're done." She didn't scream. She didn't argue. She just sat down in the chair I used to eat breakfast in and whispered, "Okay." I left the house without looking back. My cousin drove me to a motel. I didn't speak the whole way. Neither did he. That night, I stared at the ceiling for hours. I kept thinking about our first date, our wedding day, the Christmas we spent snowed in, eating mac and cheese out of the pot because the power was out. And I kept asking myself, was that all a lie too? Or did she just stop loving me somewhere along the way and never had the guts to say it? I'm living in a small apartment now. 1 bedroom. No pictures on the wall yet. But it's quiet. And mine. Rachel's 6 months pregnant. We've spoken a few times. Strictly about the baby. Nothing more. She's going to parenting classes. Says she's trying to get better. I don't stop her. Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. I started seeing a therapist. First time in my life. Helps a little. The truth? I'm still angry. Still hurt. Still figuring out how to live with this new version of reality. But I'm not numb anymore. I don't cry every night. I don't wake up gasping from dreams of hotel bars and strangers' hands on her leg. I'm learning how to breathe again. What did I learn? That love isn't enough if it's one-sided. That trust, once broken, doesn't always come back. And that sometimes the person you'd take a bullet for is the one holding the gun. I'll be a dad soon. That scares me more than anything. But I won't let my kid grow up in lies. I won't teach them that silence is love or that betrayal is just a phase. I don't know if I'll ever fall in love again. But I know this. I'll never ignore the quiet signs again. The late texts. The dodged eyes. The silence behind, "I'm fine." Some people get stronger after a storm. I'm still standing. That's enough for now.